After the break, we test drive Hyundai's sleek and sophisticated Elantra compact sedan. And we have an update on the Joburg International Motor Show opening this week.
Continental, tires engineered in Germany.
Korean car brands like Hyundai and Kia must be an inspiration for the Chinese automakers, because 20 years ago it was the Koreans that found themselves at the bottom of the automotive food chain. Now, of course, things have changed dramatically, and Korean cars are right up there with the Japanese and the Americans, and they're even knocking on Europe's door. The new Elantra is a case in point. What used to be a dumpy, oddball little car has become a sleek and sophisticated sedan. Now in its fifth generation, the Elantra competes head-on against some of the most established sedans in South Africa, icons like the Volkswagen Jetta and the Toyota Corolla, which between them have dominated what used to be the biggest passenger car segment in the country. Even 5 years ago, you wouldn't have mentioned the Elantra in the same breath as those two, but the reality is that today it's well up to the fight. It has similar dimensions, a well-stocked interior, a raft of safety features and modern mechanicals. In styling terms, the Elantra used to be a bit of an ugly duckling, but it's since emerged as a beautiful, elegant swan. The flowing lines, the wedged profile, that strong shoulder line are all very much Sonata, but because this car is more compact, it also looks sportier and more aggressive. The pronounced shoulder line is one of the Elantra's strongest visual features and emphasizes the car's wedged profile. Together with a flowing roofline, it's a shape that suggests wind-cheating aerodynamics. The front end, with its slim upper and larger lower air intake, together with those imposing tapered headlight clusters, is unmistakably Hyundai. But the chiseled wheel arches are almost too pronounced. That this is a big car by C-segment sedan standards becomes apparent when one considers that the 17-inch wheels still look too small. The rear view is perhaps the car's least flattering aspect, mainly because the sculpted bumper and extended rear apron make the car look bulbous and heavy-set. The swept lines of the taillight clusters provide some visual relief though. Handsome alloys complete the elegant package. The interior of the Elantra is another pleasant surprise. Gone are the days of Soul City by night. This cabin is nicely laid out and has an elegant feel about it. It's also filled to the brim with standard equipment. There's just enough aluminium look brightwork to lift the otherwise dark dashboard finishes, while the analog instruments are a welcome, legible counterpoint to the digital displays for the trip computer, CD receiver and the climate control. The steering wheel features multifunction controls for the audio system, and there's also a USB socket for iPod and MP3 player connection. The front seats are shaped for both comfort and support, and there's enough adjustability to tailor a driving position to suit personal preference. The cloth upholstery looks smart and feels durable, and the rear accommodation is comfortable for a car in this segment. The rear seat back is split 60-40, allowing the capacity of the 420-litre luggage compartment to be increased if necessary. This test unit is the 1.8 GLS, which means it's powered by a 1.8-litre engine with variable valve timing, twin overhead cams and 16 valves. Power output is 110 kilowatts, which is among the best in its class, and the 178 newton meters torque output is pretty handy too, but it only arrives at 4,700 RPM, which means this car is quite peaky, especially at altitude. The result is that one needs to make full use of the 6-speed manual gearbox, and especially the first 5 ratios. 3rd to 6th gears are quite tall too, probably in the interests of economy. Fortunately, the shift action is pleasingly positive, so keeping the engine on the boil is no hardship, although you often need to gear down twice to get the revs into the power band. And because the Elantra weighs less than 1,200 kilos, it's able to overcome some of the engine's peakiness. But if you're prepared to use the full rev range, the performance is actually quite brisk. Hyundai claims a 0 to 100 time of 9.3 seconds, but you can probably add about a second to that at altitude and a top speed just over 200 kilometers an hour. Road manners and ride quality will be more important than top speed for most Elantra owners though, and for the most it shines in both departments. The chassis and suspension settings are comfort biased, but provide good control and predictable responses while soaking up poor road surfaces. The steering is over-assisted and lacks the weight and feedback to deliver an involving drive. That's a pity, because in an era of sophisticated software, creating decent steering feel can't be that difficult. That aside, the Elantra turns in tightly enough and sticks to the chosen line with tenacity. At the limit, there's a mild tendency to understeer, but the car always feels in control and inspires confidence. The new Elantra must have the competition quaking in its boots. It delivers in all the most important areas: space, spec, safety and value. It also looks good, and the performance is fairly decent. Most of all, this car is attractively priced and is backed by a 5-year warranty and a 5-year service plan, which means it's a pretty good buy. No wonder we're expecting it to feature high on the local sales charts. On paper, the Elantra's drivetrain offers ample zip while also achieving good fuel economy. But in reality, the engine's peaky delivery blunts progress, especially at altitude. Still, this is an impressive package offering striking looks, good spec and decent overall dynamics, as long as you use the gearbox to the full.